The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Marketing for Construction. This webinar is a part of ABC's Small and Emerging Contractors webinar series. I am Jem Huber, Director of Member Services at ABC National, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. Today's presentation is being recorded and will last approximately 90 minutes. This presentation will be available on ABC's website in the next day or two. Please note that all participant lines will be muted. You're welcome to submit questions throughout the webinar by typing in the question box located at the bottom of the sidebar and then clicking the send button. We will get as many questions as possible during the Q&A portion of the presentation. You may minimize and expand the GoToWebinar sidebar by clicking the red arrow in the top left corner. And now I'd like to introduce our first presenter, Freda L. Thomas, MBA. Ms. Thomas is principal owner of a business management consulting firm. She has several years of experience developing, directing, and implementing plans to improve and expand an organization's market position and financial profitability. Ms. Thomas has conducted hundreds of presentations and seminars related to business training and development, and she is also a technical writer of business plans, loan packages, grants, and RFPs. Her certifications and training include New York State Certified Business Advisor, NASBITE Trained in Global Procurement, and a Process Improvement Specialist. Also joining us today is ABC National's Director of Business Development and Partnerships, Mark Lehman, and Director of Safety, Chris Williams. Mark and Chris will share with the audience how ABC's business development and safety programs can be utilized to market your company. Now I'd like to welcome Freda Thomas to get us started. Freda?
Good afternoon, good day, everyone. Thank you, Jen. It is my pleasure to be with you today. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. Next slide, please, Jen.
There you go.
Okay, so here's the agenda for today. I'm going to start out by explaining what is marketing your business. Sometimes there's some confusion about that, believe it or not. And next, we'll talk about core capabilities. I'll explain the importance of understanding how your industry and the marketplace is performing. After that, we'll discuss SWOT, which is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We'll go into discussions about websites, search engine optimization, and other online tools. I'll talk a little bit about the use of social media. After that is the marketing plan, my special offer, marketing strategies and techniques. I'm going to share some strategies and techniques that you can use and execute immediately. And after that, we'll open up the floor for Q&A, and I'll turn things over to Mark Lehman and Chris Williams to tell you about some of the ABC programs that are coming up. Next. So, marketing your business. The essence of marketing is how do you surpass the competitor at the task of creating perceived value? Okay? I mean, that's a really kind of loaded statement, isn't it? What does that mean? Well, in order for you to be successful at what you're doing, you must incorporate a process where you are surpassing what your competitors are doing. What is your niche? What is unique about what you do? What is the value proposition that you provide? The next thing that's critical in understanding marketing is your competitive advantage. Well, that's obvious, right? That's when your company creates more value for customers than the competitors. Oftentimes, you're in an industry, you're an electrician, you're a general contractor, and there may be thousands who are doing the same thing that you're doing. And those thousands are obviously trying to attract the same customer that you are. So you want to think about what value for your customers brings that customer to you rather than the competitor. My question today is your company creating more value than your competitor? If the answer is no, or if you're not quite sure, you have an opportunity to explore some critical thoughts. That's whether or not your product or service exceeds that of the competitor, is the same, or is less than. Next. Core capability and competence, and I'm sure everyone on the call today has heard these terms before. What does that mean? The key word here is the unique features of your service and your products. What is that something that you do that is hard to duplicate? For example, here's a core capability statement for a construction contractor, and it reads, Performance Contractors focuses on site preparation and startup construction for the chemical, petrochemical, pulp, paper, automotive, and steel industries. Now, that's pretty unique and probably hard to duplicate. And I'd like to ask if you are clear about the unique features of what you do. Is there something that's hard to duplicate either in your process, in your delivery, or your service? That's where we go back to what is it that differentiates you from everyone else? What is the value creation? What irresistible functionality do you provide? Is there something in your process that is hard to duplicate? And can you provide a competitive advantage to your customers? Next. Now, I'd like to suggest that for those of you who haven't created a core capability, to think about these questions. You want to ask yourself, who are you? Define who you are. What is it you're selling? How do your customers and clients benefit from your service and what you sell? Again, I want to get back to the uniqueness. Is there something unique about what you do? Are you creating value for the customer? What's in demand under the products and services you're providing? Now, that may sound like a silly question, but in my 17 years of advising business owners, many of my clients were selling or trying to continue to sell services that were no longer in demand. And that's why this next question is critical, which is, which service or product is likely to stay in demand? That question is asking you to think in advance of this moment, to have some forward thinking, to look at the future and be objective in that process. Answer this question and do some research to explore and get to know what your customers' needs and wants might be right now and in the future. So at the end of this webinar, if you have yet to develop your core capability, my suggestion to you is take a moment, grab a sheet of paper. This exercise, at the most, it should take 10 minutes for you to define who you are, what it is you're selling, how does the customer benefit from your service, and which product is in demand, and which is likely to stay in demand. Next. Now, we've all heard of Turner Construction. Because of the decline in commercial and residential work, Turner expanded its core competence to institutional and government clients. Now, here's an industry leader with enough insight to say things are not right. We're not bringing in the revenue that we generally do. We can see a shift in the markets. There is not the type of engagement in terms of residential building that previously a leader like this has probably witnessed. So what did they do? They said, well, we can't continue to focus on residential, especially considering what we witnessed in the last 4 years in this country regarding the loss in sales related to housing. So Turner said, we have to re-examine the situation, stepping out of the doing mode and into discovery. That's what Turner did. And as we can see, discovery for Turner led to a redirect. They went from a core competence of commercial and residential, and instead they started to focus on institutional and government clients, right? A great process to re-energize, to redirect, to refocus, and potentially generate more revenue, and I'm sure that that perhaps was the result for them. The redirect also resulted in Turner being named Contractor of the Year last year. Now that's pretty good considering the economic shambles that this country was in last year. And I invite you, once you're able to access the download version of this presentation, visit this link that you see here at the bottom of the page so you can learn about their process to understand what exactly happened that led them to decide that they were going to energize their core capability. I offer this example to you because I want you to see in real time how the players in your industry are responding to what perhaps was a critical and dire situation. Loss of revenue, loss of customer engagement, and they had a process in mind where they could step into a new direction, which is the institutional and government clients. Next. So if you've been in a doing mode, and I hope that's not the case for the listeners on the call today, I hope that most of you are just milking sales and bringing in new clients and energizing your process and learning and growing. And if that's not the case, I'd like you to take a moment and go through this discovery process, which is getting back to the customer and thinking from the customer analysis perspective. To help keep you on your toes, even if you're doing record-breaking deals right now, I would still like to ask you to go through this exercise. You want to think from a customer-centric perspective. Answer these questions. How do customers learn about your service? Is it referral, advertising, or something else? Can you clearly define your customer base? And do you know who your customers are? Now here, I'm not talking about knowing their phone numbers and address, but do you know what they like and dislike about your company, your products and services? Are you familiar with the spending habits of your clients? Are their purchasing habits in a pattern? And are you able to influence those purchasing patterns to your favor? So What I mean by that is at the point of engagement, when you secure that wonderful contract that perhaps it took you months in order to actually execute and deliver, right? At that point, were you thinking long-term engagement with that particular client? Were you thinking of the horizon in terms of what their needs might be? Did you ask questions to understand and to be able to anticipate those needs? And if you did, that's great. That's exactly where we'd like you to be. Perhaps you've done those kinds of exercises before, and now you've forgotten to engage in that level. This is the opportunity to re-engage and revisit the customer analysis. Next, Jen. Okay, so as a business advisor, obviously I'm focused on analysis and helping my clients get the best value out of trying to grow their business and understanding how the external factors affect their success. So here we want to just talk about what is an industry analysis. Well, it's a look at the various key factors relating to the industry. It may include an analysis of the life cycle of that industry, its history, an in-depth ratio analysis regarding the financial performance of a particular industry. It can have a review of differing trends, seasonality, fluctuations. All of those things can affect an industry. And industry analysis also looks at the competitors and government regulations. Next. Market analysis. It's a study regarding how many electricians, general contractors, are selling their service in the marketplace. What are the price points in which they sell their service? How profitable is the marketplace? What percentage of market share do each of the players have within a respective field? You would want to know those things. And finally, what percentage of market share are you looking to penetrate? If you are an electrician and the larger companies in your market have a total of 95% market share, what percentage of the market are you likely to own? Is it 1%, less than 1%, or more? You want to think about that. Now, next slide. Take a look at this bell curve and try and discern where within this bell curve is your industry performing. If you think you know but you're not sure, take some time to do some research, and I'm sure your organization, ABC, can provide you with industry and market performance reports to let you know how your areas of expertise are coming along. Sometimes a company can take the position that, you know, I'm doing fine, my sales are just where they are. However, if you take a moment and get back to what I described earlier as that exploration phase, you may be able to anticipate any volatility in the market, right? And you will want to be aware of what's going on, any trends, any cycles that could potentially impact your growth or your ability to grow or your ability to sustain and keep afloat, right, which is critical to most operations because you've got payroll and other expenses that you need to meet on a day-to-day basis. However, if things are not on a trajectory, if you're witnessing minimal growth week to week and year to year, take a look at where you are on this curve, where your industry is with regard to the curve. If your industry is in the mature or the declining stage, it's time for a redirect, for discovery and innovation. If you're in the growth to mature phase, I suggest to focus on customer service. Build key relationships with persons within your industry in order to maximize this time of record spending. You may want to maximize the growth opportunities now because, as you can see, within every marketplace and every industry life cycle, there's a point in which you're going to experience maturity, which is flat, right? Sales are flat, or a decline. That's something that none of us likes to talk about, but if we're prepared, if as business owners you are in the know about the performance of your industry and the marketplace, then you're better able to manage it, to resolve any issues that are aligned with it. And they say, you know, being educated about something is a lot better than not being able to anticipate it and having a moment of inability to act and move forward. Take this opportunity during the growth phase to maximize, if you're in growth, to maximize and incentivize sales. Next. Now, in case you haven't seen an industry report before, take a look at this. This is a report for daycare industry. It looks at the various segments. It shows you market share for each segment, how much revenue the industry produces, the revenue growth by percentage, the number of establishments within the industry, and the number of enterprises. For your respective industry, I implore you to think in this regard. You would also want to look at historicals. So if your industry is on the incline, things are better than they were prior years, that's good. However, looking at historicals in terms of industry and market performance can often serve as a benchmark to help you understand that based on what happened in the past, what is the likelihood, given external factors, government regulations, volatility in the economy, what is the likelihood that something outside of your process and your norm could happen within your industry? And if something outside of the norm is happening, how are you going to deal with that? Do you have a plan in place so that if things start to turn in a way that is not in your favor, you got some options and some opportunities to help you keep your business and manage it successfully? That's the reason why it's important to take the time and do some study to know your markets and to know your industry. Next. Okay, the American Institute of Steel created this market analysis report that says the construction market over the past 10 years has added 1.5 billion square feet of new buildings to the national building inventory. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So from 2008 to 2030, the American Institute of Steel is saying profitability in construction is projected at a growth rate of 3.5%. So construction, as you all know, has peaks and valleys related to growth. You can read more about this report by accessing the link at the bottom of the page. And let's go to the next slide. The reason why it's important to know about the growth rate of the construction industry, it's important because if growth is sluggish, your company sales are likely to be sluggish, right? It's also important to understand what 3.5% growth rate means relative to other industries, like U.S. healthcare, which is expected to grow at twice the rate of construction, 6.05%, for healthcare indices. That's what their reports are showing. Now, this analysis tells us that industry sales for construction are likely to be marginal compared to the health of the healthcare industry. Now, if you know that industry growth is marginal, you can start to plan for it, like I said. How will you overcome that? If you're unaware of these factors, chances are you're less prepared to overcome challenges and to know how to respond to the peaks and valleys. And again, as I said before, I welcome you to check these links so that you're aware of what's happening in the marketplace. You can do some comparisons. You may want to compare the growth rate of your industry to an industry that is a partner, you know, in your industry. So take the time to know how you're performing, how your markets are performing, and govern yourself accordingly. Next. Jacob Kindleberger says, a little competition is a good thing, and severe competition is a blessing. Thank God for competition. So you want to analyze your competition, right? You want to know these things. Do you know the number of competitors in your field? What amount of market share they have? Is it 10%, 50%, 97%, or something else? The competitors' customers, do you know them? And what do your competitors' customers think about their products and services? So that's sort of like having a secret shopper or mystery person, or, you know, just taking the time to observe what's going on with my competitor. Are they doing well? Are they reducing their price points with regard to bidding on contracts? Is their operation still performing at the max? Have they potentially laid people off? And what does that mean in relationship to you and how you govern your operation? Next. And now there's more exercise and more work. Yes, I told you there would be a lot to cover. And I hope those of you who are taking the time to take notes between now and the time you actually have access to this PowerPoint presentation will certainly think about what are your strengths, your weaknesses, where are the opportunities, those are the external factors affecting your business, and what are the potential threats that you face. And we talked about some of those things: volatility in the marketplace, government regulations. Opportunities and threats are things on the exterior of your business that could potentially have an effect on it. So you want to be able to measure those, and we're going to do that on the next slide. So this is a hypothetical analysis. The strengths are the company has experience in their field. They've acquired a key major customer. There's a focused management team in place with strong leadership, and I know that's the case for everybody on the phone today. However, maybe hypothetically, for this hypothetical analysis, there's insufficient sales and cash flow. And we can see that this company isn't charging enough, and there are no strategies in place to increase sales. They don't have an advertising and promotions budget. They may need new employees. So let's look at the opportunities and threats. Well, the opportunities are, there's an external observation of, as I said, of what you want. That's what opportunities are. And this company might benefit from an alliance with a fellow member of their organization, an organization like ABC. This company could align itself with a company whose products complement their own. The threats include perhaps an experienced competitor with strong cash flow has the ability to act in real time when opportunities arise, okay? They have an opportunity to act in real time when not only opportunities arise, when there's a chance to execute on those opportunities. This firm has marginal visibility. That means there's no web presence. They're not doing any advertisements. They're not networking. Their core customer base might be small, and there potentially is nothing unique about what this company is doing. Next. Now, I always like to throw in a motivational quote, and Atlene Sinclair says, "You are the embodiment of the information you choose to accept and act upon. To change your circumstances, you need to change your thinking and subsequent actions." Knowing your core competence, the things I've discussed already. Conducting industry and market analysis. Taking the time to analyze your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities and threats. These things can help you change your circumstance, your thinking, and information in order to enhance your company's performance and redirect to influence positive change. Next. Okay, so I know everybody on the call today has a website, right? Okay. And that's great, okay? It's a great platform. I just want to explore what's important that you have there on that platform. That platform is going to let your prospects and customers know what's happening within your company. Some statistics. Did you know that 94% of consumers research products online before they make a purchase? 94%. And 97% use online media to look for products within their respective zip codes. So I don't need to read this to you, but the components of your website necessarily have to include your brochure, a download of your company. You should have it in a PDF form, so not only is the visitor able to see what you do when they visit the site, but they can take a document with them to review at another time. Your website should improve customer service and the customer experience. It should be a place where your prospects and your clients can get information. The website should have white papers, links to resources. It should be a place where you promote what you do, and it should also offer you an opportunity to get qualified imagery, right? So the latest projects that you're working on, you want to ensure that you upload them and add them to the website. Next. Okay, so as I said before, you want to ensure that you've got these things: articles, frequently asked questions, a call to action. The call to action means you are making an appeal to the visitor: call you, email you, sign up for your newsletter, or buy your product or service within a specific period of time. For example, you know those info commercials on TV where they say the next 500 customers get a free widget. Well, that's a call to action. Calls to actions prompt the visitor to act now. So if your website is lacking something that is requiring the visitor to act, I ask you to please revisit that and add your CTA or your call to action. Next. Now, as I said, I'm sure that everyone on the call has a website, but perhaps maybe someone is looking to upgrade or revitalize, or maybe you created a blog and and gave it a web.com address. If you don't have a home page or you're looking to revitalize what you have, for as little as $17 a month, you can go to GoDaddy.com and build your own website. Now, I'm not a GoDaddy representative. However, I did build my own website using their templates. You can save money. You can create your own e-commerce site without spending a lot of cash. I believe the e-commerce piece is like $9.99 a month. And their platform is very easy to integrate and use. And as I said, it's affordable. So think about that. Next. Now, after you build your site, you want to make the most of it, and you can do that through SEO or search engine optimization. For those of you who know what SEO is, indulge me while I explain. SEO is the process of choosing keywords and phrases and placing them within the pages on your site. It helps to rank the site when people are searching for you on the web. Search engine optimization improves your visibility in search engines like Google, Yahoo, and Bing, and it helps when people search by image and location. You want to use online directories like the Yellow Pages and Manta to help improve your visibility, and Google Places helps people find you in a specific geographic zip code. So let's take a look at this short YouTube video about Google Places.
Bear with me.
Sure.
Well, we might have a streaming problem.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I know sometimes high definition takes up a lot of space, so I don't know how it integrates with GoToMeeting.
Well, we have the link, which will be available in the presentation for folks to check it out on their own time.
Okay, great. And just a note about Google Places, what it does is it allows you to have a location-based presence on the internet, right? So within your zip code, if people are looking for your particular type of service, Google Places will help to make that process a lot easier for you and for them to find you and for you to have location-based integration in your process. Okay, Jen, let's go to the next, please. Okay, I don't know about you all, but I was a late bloomer to social media. I went fighting nail teeth. I did not want to have that level of exposure, and now I can't imagine my business without it. Social mediums help you engage one-on-one with your customer, and everyone can understand the importance of engagement. You can learn what they think about your company. That's so important, getting real-time feedback from your customers. Post photographs of your latest projects on social media. You can list customer testimonials. You can even conduct surveys and get feedback. On Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you can upload invitations. Wherever you're going to be at a trade show, you can invite people. You can position yourself to be a thought leader within your industry using social media. Post articles there, provide feedback on topics related to what you do. You could join forums to learn from others and to build your network. So please use these outlets, make the best of them so that they empower you in your process. Next. Now, these two forums are a great place to start engaging and learning from business owners within your industry. ABC members, when was the last time you visited the ABC website? There are links to educational programs and training listed there. They are there for your use. So execute, use, join, empower. Next. Okay, so now it's time to roll up our sleeves and get some work done, okay? How do we get started? I've given you all kinds of tools. I would like to suggest that you start by taking a look at your current position and situation. What's going on within your company? I hope you're witnessing record sales, but if you are not, it's time to look at what's happening in the business. Are sales on the increase or something else? Where are you headed? Where are you going? What's your objective over the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months? Is it increased sales, greater customer engagement that you're looking for? And how will you achieve greater sales and customer engagement? What are the strategies you will take? How will you get there? This is a general question. And then the more specific question is, what are the tactics that you will use in order to reach your objective? How are you going to monitor your progress? Next. Okay, if you're not sure what's going on within your business, start by looking at the perception of your company. How profitable are you? You want to go out and talk to customers, conduct surveys. Do you know your performance? How profitable are you from year to year? And where are you going? If you do nothing, then perhaps that's inertia. There's no change there. If you continue to do what you are doing, what will be the end result? What would you like to fix? Is it customer perception? Is it retention or something else? Next. So let's look at a hypothetical marketing plan. So the current position, sales are flat, poor customer engagement. Where are you going? Perhaps stagnant if there's no change. What do you want to do? Improve your image, your position in the marketplace, gain market share, be more profitable. How will you do these things? The general things you will do. You'll get back to discovery and ask for customer feedback. When will you do this? Within the next 6 to 12 months, hopefully. And lastly, but not leastly, list the things you want to do and how will you monitor. Will you monitor every 90 days? Every 90 days is generally a good benchmark to measure your performance. Next. Okay, so does the approach I outlined seem like a lot to anyone that's listening? It really isn't. That's if you've got the time to put a plan in place. And some of you know, just as I'm speaking right now, that your days are stretched and filled to capacity. I know that mine are. So how do you squeeze in another thing that you have to do? Well, here's where I can help. I can take you through an objective look at your current position and what's happening now. I can help you determine the steps you'll need to take in order to improve your position. I'll help you devise the strategies that you'll need to take in order to execute that objective. And working together, we can outline the steps you'll need to take in order to get there. I will also show you how to focus on the things that are doable based on the amount of time, resources, financial, in terms of the people that it's going to require in order to get your plan up and running. Next. And why me to help you accomplish your marketing plan? I've got 17 years of experience helping businesses achieve their goals. And in my own company, I've increased year-over-year sales by 100%. I'd love to tell you how I did that. I've worked with a manufacturer of consumer goods and helped him increase his sales from $650,000 to $1.5 million in 12 months. And I can do the same working with you. Next. So remember how I talked about that call to action? Well, here's a call to action. My special offer is a marketing plan where usually I provide it for $19.95. The special offer for listeners on the call today, $9.95. That's $9.95. But you must act today. Okay? Next. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that special towards the end. So I would like to offer you some tools, practices, techniques that you can integrate on a day-to-day basis. Perhaps creating a marketing plan might be intimidating. So you can start now just incorporating some of these techniques to help leverage your process, give you more exposure to the marketplace, and maybe even introduce what you do to some prospects, and hopefully those prospects translate to clients, to new clients. So let's take a look at some general practices that you can use. You want to try to position your company as the best at what you do. Promote any policies you have to enhance your reputation. Post your license number on all of your promotionals. This will add credibility to what you do. When I meet with clients, I bring with me a folder that has a copy of every certification, my master's degree. It tells them about my process, and I give them a folder, a promotional folder that outlines my service. By doing that, what I'm saying to the client is, I've taken the time to go out and advance myself in terms of credentials, and I hope that by doing that, you perceive the value of working with me, and you want to do the same thing. If the target is government agencies, include your workers' compensation claim history in your material. Any OSHA inspection reports, add those compensation details to all of those reports and proposals, and demonstrate your commitment through safety. That's really, really great for your clients and customers to know. Next. More practices. On time and on budget is a very powerful slogan for your industry. I don't know about you, but when I'm looking for a professional to hire for a project, I like to know that they deliver on time and on budget. And I bet you do too. Stand apart from your competitors with a commitment, and you decide the commitment that you can keep. You don't want to aimlessly claim to commit to something that you can't own for the life of your business. Send unique gifts like a miniature tool or a key ring. And if you're advertising, believe it or not, small, consistent ads are more effective than a one-time placement. Even if you think, a one-time ad, a large full-color ad, or even a black and white somewhere may advance your process, you get more mileage by consistent advertisement. Okay, next. And here are some techniques. You want to try to incorporate email newsletters if you can as a marketing tool. They help to educate. They help you get feedback from people who are following you, and you can also use them to introduce new employees. These companies listed here, you can check their platform and see which one you like. I use Constant Contact. Recently, I sent my first e-newsletter, and the response was extremely favorable. Prospects responded saying they liked the content and they asked for a meeting. Now, if that's not a demonstration that newsletters work, well, I don't know what potentially is. Affiliates of mine emailed me to tell me the same. The content was strong, and they thanked me for sending it to them. Product placement is another powerful technique to broaden the base and get you some exposure. And if you sell a product or products, unique packaging can help set you apart from others. If you'd like to see my newsletter, you can email me at info@consultflt.com, and I will send it to you. That's info@consult, F for Freda, L, T for Tom.com. Next. Okay, more techniques. Try to meet the top executives at your existing client's business. Knock on 3 new doors, departments, and divisions within each existing customer's business. You can check out my blog and learn about my touch system. That's my way of saying thank you and staying in touch with prospects, clients, and affiliates. And for those of you who decide to join my newsletter on a regular basis, you'll find that I send thank you notes. I use GoDaddy as my email host, and they have templates that you can incorporate and embed into your email that say things like, "You rock, have a great day," and they have these beautiful visuals attached to them. And I believe that those things make a difference. It says to the people that I'm meeting on a regular basis that you matter, that I thought of you, and touching people person to person is what is going to make the difference, especially in this time of gratification, exchanging service for payment, and disengaging. So the whole point of marketing is to figure out how you produce an edge, how you ensure that you are in the face of the prospect, your allegiances with other companies, your alliances with other companies, You want to think about how do I integrate them on a day-to-day basis so that they're always thinking about me. Okay, next. Okay, try and get guest appearances on talk radio and television. Believe it or not, television talk and radio talk, they are always looking for content to fill the airways. Send them your press kit. Talk about something unique that your company has accomplished and ask to be a guest. I wrote a book, and I emailed and phoned producers of talk radio, and I asked them to be a guest. I've been on several talk shows this year, and it was free advertising. It costs $0. If you write well, you can get paid to write articles at these sites listed here. And if you're saying to yourself, I can't add another thing to my to-do list, feel free to call or email me, and I will tell you how I have recruited college interns to help me build my business. Next. Okay, so this is a list of more techniques you can use to promote your company. I won't take the time to read them, but they're there, and when you get the download version of the presentation, feel free to incorporate them in your process. Next. Now, you've taken in quite a bit of information today. I've been talking for an hour now, and hopefully these steps will help you be more successful and help you determine how you can integrate a marketing process within your business if you're not doing that, or perhaps you just need to revisit your marketing plan. What if you decide you're just going to pretend that you didn't take this webinar, you didn't listen? Well, you might be like this monster getting eaten by Pac-Man. This monster was probably standing still, and look at him now. Dale Carnegie says, inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. Dale says, go out and get busy. So let's get busy, listeners, and start to put a plan in action. You're not sure how to get started? Next. Here's that offer again. Take me up on this special offer. I'd welcome the chance to work with you. And for today only, you will save $1,000 off the price. But you have to call today. Next. You want progress. I know you want growth. Progress requires change. You must be willing to take on challenging tasks like creating a marketing plan and not get deterred. That's my advice for you today. Next. Now, this good-looking man won't be standing by to take your call, but I will. You must call now in order to take advantage of this opportunity. There's the phone number. I'm sure everybody on the call today can see it. It's in big bold letters, 718-938-2164. Call during business hours, or feel free to email me, info@consultflt.com. Visit my website, consultflt.com. That's consultflt.com. 718-938-2164. Next, Jim. So that's it for my portion. Let's open up the phones for questions. I'm glad to answer and give some feedback.
Thank you, Freda. As a reminder, audience members can submit questions by typing in the question box located at the bottom of the sidebar and then clicking the send button. We do have one question already in our question box for you, Freda. In reference to your marketing practices, one of your points was adding license number to advertisements. The question is, do you mean the business license number?
I mean any certification numbers do you have? So as an electrician, as a general contractor, you've got some kind of identification number associated with your particular indice. You want to ensure that you add that to everything. Great. Not your EIN number, if that's the question.
I think you answered the question.
Okay, great.
And again, audience members, if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the question box and hit the send button, and I will read it off to Freda. It doesn't look like we have any more questions at this point, so maybe we'll move on to the second half of our presentation, and if any other questions pop up for you, Freda, I will let you know.
Okay, so I'd like to thank everyone who's been on the phone today. I hope that these tools serve as empowerment for each of you. And now I'll turn it over to Chris Williams and Mark Liebman with ABC. They will tell you about these wonderful programs.
Great. Thanks, Freda. This is Mark Liebman, Director of Business Development. And briefly, I thought it'd be helpful to highlight two of our business development programs today that will help give you a competitive edge and help you win more work. Overall, our business development programs focus on giving you resources, marketing tools to give you that competitive edge. They're available to really any size contractor, whether you're small, medium, or large, and regardless of what business sector you're involved in, these programs work for everybody. And here at ABC National, we also promote these programs through our communication channels, our magazine, and elsewhere to provide members more recognition that are participating in these programs. So the first one I wanted to talk about was our Excellence in Construction Awards. Most of you are probably very familiar with this program because many of our chapters have EIC programs at the local level, and the national competition is open to any company that wins an award at the chapter level, whether it's first or second place. And for those chapters that don't have an awards program, members can enter the national competition directly. As you can see, the EIC program is focused on your quality of work, and whether you win an award at the national or chapter level, you can still take advantage and maximize the PR value that you get from, that you receive from your project that wins an award. There are several uses member companies can make of it. We have companies who are truly motivated. When you look at the national program, they enter, if they're able to, by winning at the chapter level, they enter the national competition year after year. They come in and they'll look at binders of winning projects to get tips and useful ways that they can maximize their binder for the judging process, because they know if they're able to win an EIC award, they can really make use of it in their RFP and their bidding documents to really catch the eye of their potential customers. You're also able to take the physical award and use that to give that to an owner or a general contractor, or to display that in your lobby, and as well as other PR uses. You can put it, you can issue press releases, you can promote the award on your website, and you can also use this for internal benchmarking for your company on its own. And now I'm going to turn it over to Chris Williams so he can talk about the National Safety Excellence Awards, which are also a key component of our awards program. Chris? I'm not sure, Chris might be having some audio problems, so I will just kind of brief. As you can see, the slide is up for the Excellence Awards program. It's open to Diamond and Platinum recipients. There are a number of different levels in the STEP program, but Diamond and Platinum companies that have reached those levels can enter the National Safety Awards, and the purpose of these awards is really to recognize the outstanding safety programs that our member companies have, and those that have demonstrated a long-term commitment to safety. And companies that win these safety awards are able to kind of maximize them and use them as tools to gain a competitive edge through RFPs and bid documents, and putting them in front of owners and other users to the same extent as those that are a part of our main Excellence in Construction program. Next, I'm going to talk about the second program that falls under our business development umbrella. It's our Accredited Quality Contractor program. We have approximately 500 members that are participating in AQC. It's made up of 5 key categories: quality, safety, training, employee benefits, and community relations. And there are different criteria in the application that make up each of those 5 sections. It's scored on a 100-point system, and those companies that score 85 or higher then become certified and become part of the AQC program. The key claim that you're able to make as an AQC member is that by being part of AQC, you can say that your company is recognized as one of the elite companies within their trade association. That's really the the key selling point that our current members are able to put out there to the marketplace. Like EIC, they can reference the HUC program in their RFP, their bid documents. There's a letter from CURT, the Construction Users Roundtable, commending the program that HUC members are able to put out there as well. And we give HUC members lots of supporting materials, whether it's certification letters, plaques, stickers, all CDs, other marketing concepts that they can use to promote this program and use it on their letterheads, their business cards, their job site, all focused on helping them gain that competitive edge. So with that, I'm now going to turn it over to Chris Williams to talk about the other safety programs we have at ABC.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. I'd like to talk about a few of our programs that we offer. First and foremost, one that you may be familiar with, our Safety Training Evaluation Process, or STEP, our flagship safety program. It's been around, just a little brief background, for about 20 years now. It was developed back in 1989 and launched in 92 by our Environment, Health, and Safety Committee. And the purpose is twofold. For the next slide. The purpose of STEP is twofold. First and foremost, it's an improvement tool. It's designed with 20 key components in mind. Those 20 key components are a roadmap to building a safety program from scratch. For companies that are just starting out on the safety road, it gives you the options of what you need to put into that program to perform a basic program all the way up to what the advanced safety programs today have. Second is a recognition tool. There are 6 levels of STEP achievement: participant, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. Each level is a sliding scale, essentially, of achievement. Participant bronze and silver are based on the 20 component score. STEP gold requires minimum or maximum incidence rate of the industry average for your NAICS code. Platinum and diamond go a little bit beyond that. Platinum is 25% or more below industry average, and diamond's 50% below for the last 3 years. So there's a high benchmark of achievement for gold, platinum, and diamond. It's a marketing tool. It's a wonderful marketing tool in terms of contractors using it for pre-qual bid and the performance history. Many owners and users will recognize STEP from the outset, as I said, being the recognition tool that it is and the stringent requirements we have for it. When you put it into a bid, it automatically carries a little bit of weight with the owners and the users, and they give you that bonus when you use it in that regard to go ahead and get you the job. From a performance standpoint, as I said, gold, platinum, and diamond recipients, it's basically a history of your performance over the last year and the last 3 years. From a data gathering standpoint for our members, it's a great tool for those that have participated in it for 3, 4, 5 years or more to be able to look back at their achievement and see how they've grown from the beginning, and they may have achieved maybe bronze or silver, all the way up to where they are now. We have diamond companies that 5 years ago were just starting out in the program, and they've used the 20 key components to be able to advance their program to the point where they're truly world-class. Next slide, please. We do have a STEP resources page on the ABC website, abc.org/STEP resources, very easy to remember. And on that, our member companies that participate in the program can pull out a lot of marketing resources. From STEP history of the program I talked about briefly, it's a little bit more in depth on the website. We have a how-to presentation on how to fill out the application that also has facts in there that we can use with owners and users to show them the in-depth analysis the program gives us as the users. STEP winners press release templates for those that achieve STEP status. They can download those press release templates that we prepare here with our Public Affairs Department and send them out to local media to tout their achievements. Platinum and diamond specific releases tout the performance side of it, like I mentioned, the incidence rate, experience modification rate, and other issues there, other criteria there. There's also the value of STEP presentations. Those are extremely valuable presentations that are pretty much an analysis of all 2,000 plus STEP applicants every year, their safety data, from their lagging indicator, recordable rates, DART rates, EMR, OSHA citations. And there's a great marketing piece, the 10 things you need to know about STEP, that comes from those presentations that our members use with their owners and users and their clients to show that as a STEP participant, you're in an elite class. The ad on the website also lists, from a percentage standpoint, just how much below industry averages our STEP achievers are. It ranges from, in terms of citations, the average in the industry right now is for every 1 OSHA inspection, 3 citations are issued. For STEP participants, for every 3 inspections, 1 citation is issued. In terms of fatality rates, we're over 80% below industry averages. EMR at least 16% below industry averages. On incidence rate, 39% below industry averages. So if you participate in STEP, it truly is a roadmap to success, and it's also a great marketing tool to help build your brand. Next slide, please. A new program we're going to be launching in the coming year is called STEP Plus. I just mentioned that our STEP is a program that measures performance in the past, lagging indicator performance. So it's based on last year's incidence rate and reportable rates and things like that. STEP Plus is an all-encompassing program. It's a transformative journey to best-in-class safety. It involves 3 different phases in the 3-year transformative journey. Leadership commitment. If the leadership of the company doesn't buy into a zero-incident workplace and promoting safety as a core value based which all their decisions are based, you can't even get into the program. There's a pledge process and a safety perception survey process that every company must go through just to get into the program. The second step of that part of the fund is the cultural transformation. From safety as a priority, it's something we put on our performance on our website, to a total safety commitment where every member of the company, from the CEO down to our field employees, looks at safety as I said, that core value. Every decision they make, doesn't matter if it's big or small, the first question is, how does this impact my fellow employees? Third step is a systematic approach to safety and training. What that means is complete transformation of the systems and processes that a company uses to measure their performance and to train their employees and to abate hazards. So it's moving from, in some cases, hey, we have great performance, it's because of this stock safety manual we have, to now we're going to look at how we measure our leading indicators, how we measure near misses, what kind of training we offer, what our orientation offers, and aspects of that actually measure what could happen. So we're moving from a good record in the past to preventing incidences and abating hazards before they become real critical situations. The lead up to that steps, or that ladder, so to speak, is best-in-class results and return on investment. The marketing side of that is that once you complete this process, you'll have a program in place that will achieve world-class results. And we measure that from year 3 on. In other words, if a company 6 years down the road, we start to see slip in terms of their performance, their lagging indicator performance, we move them back into the program and start working with them to get back to where they need to be. Status of the program, as I mentioned, we're about to launch it on some test companies, guinea pigs, late this year. It'll work through mid-2013. There'll be 30 companies that have been selected to help us refine the process. It'll be rolled out to all of ECM members at the end of next year for full launch in 2014. From a marketing standpoint, as I mentioned, companies that are in STEP Plus are the best of the best. World-class safety performance is the one and only goal that we have. Next slide. Thank you. And this will illustrate the ladder I mentioned in terms of how we get up in the program, the leadership commitment, cultural transformation, systems and processes, and results and monitoring. Next slide, please. Last but not least, the Construction Coalition for a Drug and Alcohol-Free Workplace. This is not an ABC-specific initiative. It's actually an organization, separate nonprofit, created by 5 trade associations: ABC, AGC, Construction Users Roundtable, Construction Industry Roundtable, and 11 Construction Owners and Executives of America. The ultimate goal of this coalition is to help our industry eliminate substance abuse, injuries, and fatalities on our job sites. Recent studies show from Department of Health and Human Services in Zurich show that 35 to 50% of all job site incidences can be traced back to substance abuse. HHS did a study, anonymous study of construction employees. 13% had admitted, 13% had admitted to illicit drug use in the previous month. 15% had admitted to heavy alcohol use in the previous month. What that means to us in terms of the hazards that are created: we've got employees coming onto a job site at 7 o'clock in the morning that they've been up the night before operating heavy equipment. It's not the thing we want them to do. So the Construction Coalition for a Drug and Alcohol-Free Workplace, we use it to, there's a pledge on there that commits a company to not only having a substance abuse policy in place that's equal to or greater than what we list on our website as a resource, but also committing to helping their fellow industry participants, subcontractors, owners and users, regulatory agencies, employer representatives, employee representatives, the entire industry work towards eliminating those injuries. The marketing side of it, we've just launched this back in May. We already have about 260 pledge signers, companies that are taking part in using the resources on the page, meaning that we're getting significant exposure for the Drug and Alcohol-Free Workplace logo you see at the bottom there. Companies are more than welcome to use that logo once they sign the pledge. we've had many hits back when we launched it on going in the media with that logo, so it is recognized throughout the country at this point. Next slide. And now we'll open up to any questions. I have Mark here with me. We can go ahead and field any questions you might have through the question box.
Thanks, Chris and Mark. Just like Chris said, we do have the opportunity for questions in the question box. Freda, if you're still on the line, I do have some questions that have popped up for you. Freda, are you still on? I guess she signed off, so let me see if we have any questions for Chris and Mark. And it looks like most of these, oh, here's a STEP question. Chris, are you still accepting companies for the STEP Plus, or are those already determined?
We are still accepting guinea pigs for STEP Plus. We have a few openings left. We're always looking for companies that are willing to be a part of it, and the requirements are at this point, the companies we're looking for are smaller companies, under 500,000 man-hours worked on an annual basis. So there are definitely openings. If you want to contact me at my email address below, I'm more than happy to get you the information on how to participate. We want to make sure that, in fact, we test as many companies as possible before we launch it to the full membership.
Thanks, Chris. Well, I guess that is it for the questions. On behalf of ABC, I'd like to thank our presenters and also our audience for participating. This webinar will be archived on the ABC website at www.abc.org/webinars. You can also visit this site for more information about the Small and Emerging Contractors webinar series. Today's webinar is copyright 2012 by Associated Builders and Contractors with all rights reserved. Thank you again, and you may now disconnect.